Welcome back to TC Talk Sports, your favorite sports channel on YouTube. We're a couple games into the NBA season, but I made a promise to myself and to all of you that I'm going to be doing a preview for every single team in the NBA, so I can't stop now. More than halfway there. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Indiana Pacers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go over to TikTok, follow TC Talk Sports. I post something on there and this channel every single day. You don't want to miss out. Subscribe to this channel. Follow on there. Now it's time to talk basketball. Last year, a very interesting year for the Indiana Pacers. Some people might call it a cakewalk in the playoffs for them because the Knicks were so injured in that Eastern Conference semifinal last year, but a good season overall for the Pacers. How well are they going to do this year? My full prediction will be at the end of this video, so make sure you watch the whole thing to get to that. They finished 47-35, which was 6th in the East, so the playoff run they had was kind of incredible considering where they finished. They ended up losing in the Eastern Conference Finals to the eventual champions Boston Celtics. Of course, they got swept there. Celtics just way too good for them. Last year, the Pacers led the league, scoring 123 points per game. They were second in pace in the league, which is ironic because they are the Pacers, but if you watch them play, they get rebounds on the defensive side, fly down the court, and try to score as fast as possible. Even on make shots, they inbound it quickly, get down the floor, and set up their offense. Being such a fast-paced team, you might not think they would shoot very effectively or efficiently. They led the league shooting 50.7% from the field, so they were able to match up their speed of play with scoring baskets and still taking high-quality shots. A very high-powered offense. Basically looks the same going into this 2025 season. Not a bad three-point shooting team either. Last season, they shot 37.4% from beyond the arc. That was 9th best in the league. I don't think that number is going to be as high this year. I think they're going to drop down a couple pegs, but they were also first in team assists. Tyrese Halliburton, one of the leaders in assists last season. TJ McConnell, coming off the bench, one of the safest, smartest players in all of the NBA. And the interesting thing that sticks out to me is they were 11th in turnovers. 30 teams in the league, so they were better than half of the league in not turning the ball over, which is crazy considering how fast they play and how crazy they can get on offense sometimes. A very good offensive season for the Pacers last year. But with every high comes a low. They were arguably the best offense in the league last year and one of the worst defenses in the league. They gave up 120.2 points per game, almost last. That was 27th in the league. They allowed opponents to shoot 49.6% from the field. Also last in the league. Teams have to match their pace and also play quick. So the other teams were able to make efficient shots and also score in transition against the Pacers, putting them dead last in field goal percentage allowed. Pacers led by all-star point guard Tyrese Halliburton. He's coming into his 6th year. He's still only 24 years old. He started out his career with the Kings. That seems like such a long time ago, but he's still such a young player. Averaged 20 points per game last season, but led the league with 10.9 assists. Obviously, that's his game, handling the ball, passing off the teammates. He was very good at that last year. So far, the small sample size this year, his offensive scoring seems to be down just a bit. His shot selection has been all over the place this year. Last year, he shot a career low of 36.4% from beyond the arc. Not a great three-point shooter. He has that weird shooting form that people talked about throughout the entire season last year, but I mean, it works for him. It was a career low, but 36% is not a terrible shooting percentage. He finished with 44 double-doubles, obviously that coming with points and assists, but he did also notch his first career triple-double in a game last season, so you know he's going to fill up the stat sheet. He just has to be careful with the ball, not turn it over so much, and just be an efficient player really for this Pacers offense. Pascal Siakam, Pacers got him throughout the season last year. He finished 21.3 points per game, shot a career high 54.9% from the field, also a career high with 38.6% three-point shooting, brought in 7.8 rebounds and dished out 3.7 assists. I mean, he's that small forward, power forward type of guy. He can do everything. He's a very good ball handler for the player that he is. He seems kind of awkward out there on the floor at times, but honestly, he's a really good offensive player, and I think he was a great piece for this Pacers team last season and definitely played a big part in how far they made it last year in the playoffs. Miles Turner, starting center for the Pacers, as everyone knows, 17 points per game. That was the second highest of his career, 6.9 rebounds, and he shot 35.8% from three. He's not the best three-point shooting big man, but he's definitely more than capable of making multiple three-pointers per game, and it really makes him a dangerous player, not just for this team, but in the entire league. I don't know if we can call him one of the best centers in the league, but he can definitely have his name up there. He's very versatile. He can guard in the paint as well, and he really fits well in this Pacers offense. Benedict Mathurin, I think, is a really interesting player for this team, coming into his third year now from Arizona. He had 19 starts last season. He was more of a bench player, averaged 26 minutes per game. I think he'll have his name in the conversation for Sixth Man of the Year this season. But he averaged 14.5 points per game last year, shot 37.4% from three, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, just another guard that can do it all. This Pacers team really is deep. If you look at their roster and saw how some of their bench players performed in the playoffs last season, they're going to play fast again this year, try to score a lot of points, try to be really efficient like they were last year. I think they have the bench to do it. Mathurin, Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, even Ben Shepherd, kind of a 3-and-D type of guy. I think he's a really good three-point shooter. I think people finally realized that in the playoffs last year. So I think the Pacers are looking good going into this 2025 season. My full prediction for them is at the end of this video. It might be a little interesting, maybe a little controversial, but definitely want to stick around for that. Not too crazy of an offseason for the Pacers as in acquiring different players, but they did re-sign TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, and Andrew Nembhard, who Nembhard is the starting shooting guard, if you will, for this team. You might see him interchange with Mathurin throughout this season, but he's a solid player. He's only been getting better and better as his career goes on. In the draft, they took Johnny Furphy with the 35th overall pick, who I was not really a fan of in college. He's not a bad player. I just don't see him as an NBA player, especially right now. And throughout the first couple games of this NBA season, hasn't gotten a whole lot of playing time, or any, if that. But he's one of the youngest players in the draft. He is a good wing player. He's 6'8". He's long, athletic. He's a good shooter. I think his numbers could be better. Not a crazy good or efficient scorer on the offensive side. Didn't put up big numbers at Kansas, but he's really young, so definitely a lot of room to grow for him. He did make the Big 12 all-freshman team while at Kansas. So I think the Pacers, they knew that he probably wouldn't play right away, especially how deep they are, but they believe that they can develop him into a good player. I don't see him being that, but we'll see. My player to watch for this Pacers team, casual basketball fans or even big fans of the NBA might not know this guy, but it's Jarace Walker. Now coming into his second year with the Pacers. He's 6'7", 235, a wing player who can also kind of do it all for this team. Last season, he only played 33 games, but he averaged 3.6 points per game, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He can shoot the three. Not the best three-point shooter, but I think we're going to see that skill be developed in the next couple years for him. And I don't think he'll be a common household name amongst NBA fans, but if he gets playing time for the Pacers, watch out for Jarace Walker. He's athletic. He can guard out on the wing. He can drive the ball into the paint. As I mentioned, he can shoot threes. Not really his strong suit, but definitely capable of doing that. And he excels at running the floor at his size, 6'7", 235. Super athletic, can get up and down the floor. I think he deserves minutes for this Pacers team. Might not see the floor too much just because of their depth, but he's definitely a good player. Finally, my prediction for the Indiana Pacers, as far as standings-wise, I think they'll be around that 6th or 7th seed in the East. They're definitely not going to make as deep of a playoff run this year as they did last year. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but they might have to be fighting for that play-in spot. The East has a couple really good teams, a couple gritty teams that are going to be fighting for that 6th seed in those play-in spots come the end of the year. I don't think the Pacers are going to have a crazy good year. I think they'll have a decent year, finish over 500, a winning record, all of that. But when it comes playoff time, I think they might be fighting for a play-in spot.